Is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Bree, and I'm with FlexJobs. We're hosting the webinar today. I know we have a big crowd today, so I wanted to give everyone a chance to log in. So we're going to wait just another minute or so to make sure that everyone can log into the system and get settled, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So thank you all for being here, and we'll talk again in another minute. And hi, everyone. For those of you who have just logged in, we're just giving people a chance to log in, just like you. So we're going to wait another minute or so, and then we will get started. Thanks for being here. All right, and it looks like we've slowed down in terms of the number of people who are logging in right now, so it's probably a good time to get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Hiring for Remote Jobs with Dell, VIPKID, and Hilton. My name is Bree Reynolds, and I'm the Senior Career Specialist at FlexJobs. Very excited to be here today and have everybody here. We hope you get a lot out of this webinar. It's a great opportunity to hear from hiring managers and recruiters at some companies that are offering really fantastic remote jobs, and we're excited to have them here. I just wanted to go over a couple housekeeping notes before we get started. First things first, this will be a 60-minute webinar, and we will end with a Q&A session. So as we're going through the webinar and you're hearing from each of the employers on the panel today, if you have questions, please feel free to enter them into your GoToWebinar control panel. Some of you have found that area already, so hello to everybody who's left us messages so far. Thank you for being here. If you don't see your GoToWebinar control panel, look around your screen for a little orange arrow, and if you click the arrow, the control panel should magically open up, and you'll be able to see the questions area. And you can ask questions there, and myself and my colleague Jen Blaze, who also is with FlexJobs, will be monitoring those questions throughout the webinar. We'll try to get to as many questions as we can for the last 20-25 minutes or so of the webinar, so you'll be able to hear the answers to some of your most pressing questions from our recruiters today. And then also you'll receive an email tomorrow with a link to the recording, so you'd be able to review it if you'd like to, go back to any particular spots or watch the whole thing over again, whatever you'd like to do. And we'll also have a very brief survey in that email that we would love for you to take. It really helps us to improve these events as we do them and make things more helpful for job seekers. So we hope you'll take our survey as well. So the topics that we're going to be covering today, first, just a quick introduction for our panelists and FlexJobs in general, just so you kind of know who's here. And then we're going to talk about remote job market trends and just a couple quick remote job search tips to get us started. That's coming from me and FlexJobs. And then we're going to open it up to each representative from Dell, VIPKID, and Hilton. They're all going to discuss their remote hiring and cover kind of the basics of what they look for and the types of jobs they hire for and that sort of stuff. And then we'll get into the audience Q&A where we can get a little bit more specific about each company and how they hire for remote jobs and what you could expect as a professional who might be applying to those jobs. And so we'll try to, get as many questions in as we can during that time. And also, I will be asking the questions that are kind of applicable to the widest audience. So if you have a very specific question, we probably won't be able to get to that question if it's just kind of for your particular situation. So I just wanted to give you a heads up about that we'll be trying to do the questions that have the most applicability to our audience here today. Okay, so just a little preview of who you'll be hearing from in a few minutes. This is our great employer panel today, excuse me. We're going to be hearing from Amanda Morgan, the senior sales recruiter at Dell, Kevin Klein, the head of teacher community in the United States for VIPKID, and Tina Shaheen, who is the manager of recruitment for Hilton reservations and customer care and high volume corporate recruitment. And I can't believe I didn't stumble over that. That's a nice long title. We're going to be hearing from each of these folks on why their companies value remote work and work flexibility and what they look for when they're hiring remote workers and their current remote job openings. So hopefully it gives you some insight into exactly what these companies are looking for and where you might fit in this grand remote work world that we're living in. Okay, so just a little bit about FlexJobs. We celebrated our 10th anniversary in 2017, so we're 11 this year in January. We're a job search website that lists pre-screened telecommuting, flexible schedule, full-time and part-time, and freelance jobs, and we've helped over 2.9 million job seekers since we were founded back in 2007. We also have a database of companies that we've researched and vetted. It's over 49,000 companies now. So we've done a lot of research into remote hiring, who's hiring, what are those companies offering, and other types of flexibility as well. And one thing to know about FlexJobs for anybody who is new to our site, who hasn't interacted with us before, we are a membership site, which is the opposite of probably most of the job boards that you have used. So on FlexJobs, job seekers subscribe for a small fee, and with that, they receive access to pre-screened job listings, skill testing, discounts on resume reviews and other job search assistance, and a lot more. There's lots of good perks that come along with a FlexJobs membership. We don't take money from employers to post their jobs. That's kind of the big thing to know. But in order to do that, job seekers are our primary clients. So that's why we are a membership site. So we don't take advertising or money to post jobs from employers or anything like that. The other thing that we do is we hand screen every job in companies so that you as a job seeker don't have to do that work. And we make sure that they are, number one, professional level jobs with flexible work options. That's kind of the biggest piece. That they are legitimate jobs and companies and not scams. Excuse me. And that we don't have any ads, scams, bogus business opportunities, commission-only jobs, all the sort of stuff that you weed through to get to the really high quality job listings. We don't have that on our site. So it's basically a clean, easy to use database of flexible jobs. And we hope that that makes your job search faster, easier, safer, and better overall. That's kind of what we're going for. The last thing I'll say about our membership is that we offer a satisfaction guarantee. So if you're a member, but for any particular reason or no reason at all, you decide that it's not working out for you, you can simply cancel your subscription and request a refund, and it'll be granted. It's as easy as that. So we really just want to provide a good, valuable service to job seekers. And we also do a lot of free public things like this webinar. So there's lots of free parts of our site. You can check out our blog and things like that. If you're not, interested in becoming a member right now, there's lots of really good resources on the site just for anybody who's joining us from the public. So feel free to check out all of that. Again, my name is Bree Weiler Reynolds, and I'm the Senior Career Specialist at FlexJobs. And I've been working with job seekers and employers for the past almost 15 years now. And it's really the sort of passion of my career is helping people find jobs and really find jobs that fit their lives. So I'm especially happy to be talking to you all today because I know you're all interested in remote work, which is one of the big ways that a job can fit your life is to have it done remotely. So I wanted to dive into some of the flexible job data that we have and specifically to remote work, because I know that's kind of the topic for today. So just this month, or just last month, I should say, now that we're into February, we released our annual list of the top 100 companies for remote jobs. And these companies posted the most remote jobs over the course of 2017. And so we wanted to kind of reward them and recognize them for their commitment to remote work and for offering so many remote opportunities. And so VIPKID, special congratulations to you for making number 1 on the list this year. And then Dell at number 9 and Hilton at number 21. We really love all of your commitment to remote work, and we're so glad to have you here today because you are some of the leaders in this realm. And I should say, let me go back for just one second. To see the full list, you can go to that link, flexjobs.com/blog/top100 remote, and you'll be able to get to the full list of all 100 companies. So in doing this list, we wanted to find the top career fields for remote jobs specifically. And so that's what we did. So here you can see the top 7 fields for remote work. And then some of the companies on the list of the 100 top companies that would fall into these areas that are offering a lot of jobs related to these types of career fields. Now, of course, this is not the end-all be-all list of career fields that are offering remote work. This is actually out of 55 career fields that we look at. And so there is a lot of other opportunity out there if you don't see your specific career field listed here. But I did just want to highlight some of the top ones where we see a lot of remote jobs. Okay, so and along the same lines, I wanted to give you all a list of the most common remote job titles. And so when you're seeing a list like this, really what I want you to do is kind of just start thinking about possibilities for your own job search, where you might see yourself in a remote job, which fields are you looking at? Are there any fields that are similar to yours that appear on this list that maybe you haven't thought of before? And also just to give you an idea of the variety of remote work that's out there. Because there is a lot of variety. And I think sometimes people think, oh, remote jobs are only for, certain types of career fields, but really in my particular case, I probably couldn't find anything. But the opposite is usually true. Usually remote work can be found in pretty much any career field, at least at some level. And so I think it's really important to, do some research on what you're particularly looking for so that you can find the remote jobs that are available for you, because there are probably some options out there. Even in the least likely career fields, there's usually options. Okay, so keyword searching for remote jobs, and this is something that we could ask our panelists about later in the presentation too. Just some keywords to use and keywords to avoid when you're searching for remote jobs. The ones that we tell people to avoid, and this is when you're searching anywhere on the web, whether it's LinkedIn or another job board, wherever you might be, we try to tell people to stay away from the phrases work from home and work at home. The reason is that even though these are really common ways to describe what you're looking for, oh, what do you want to do? I want to work from home. It's a very simple way to describe it. But because of that, scammers have figured that out, that lots of people, when they are looking for this type of work, will use those phrases, and scammers have started to, not even started to, for a long time, have been using the phrases work from home and work at home to post scam jobs to try to lure people in and get their, personal information, to do identity theft or money laundering or all sorts of really nasty things. So if you avoid those two phrases, you will avoid a lot of the scams that are out there. Some of the better keywords that we recommend people using, these are the ones that we see legitimate companies like those that we have on the call today using in their job descriptions when they're posting remote jobs. So things like telecommuting, virtual, remote job, distributed team. Those tend to be more often used by legitimate companies offering legitimate remote jobs. So we always recommend staying with those keywords and avoiding things like work from home and work at home. Just a couple quick tips for resumes for flexible jobs. These are some examples of different pieces of people's resumes that we've seen where they do a good job of including information that has to do with their previous remote work or the skills that they have to work remotely. So the top example there, who is this person in that line on your resume where you've got your job title and the company's name and the dates that you worked there. This person very clearly stated that this was a remote position for them. And that really helps it stand out for employers who are hiring for remote jobs. A lot of times they like to see previous experience if you have it. So if you do have really solid experience in a certain job, you could put something like this right there, and it would allow those recruiters to see, oh yes, this person knows how to work this way. They've worked this way before. And that's a great asset to have if you do have it. If you don't have previous remote experience, don't worry, because there's a couple different ways to make yourself stand out. This person in the second example that we have here, under the technology skills section on their resume, they have an area that says tools used for effective remote work. So even if you were in an office every day, if you've used communication tools that have allowed you to communicate with people who are working remotely from you, so they're in a different office, they're in a different state or time zone or wherever they might be, those are good tools to have on your resume. Remote teams and remote companies really run on these types of tools, and so showing that you know them is a really good way to set yourself apart and show that you have some of the skills that it takes to work remotely, even if you haven't worked remotely yourself. The last example that we have here with the customer service leader resume at the bottom, this is in that summary section or the key capabilities kind of section that you would have at the top of a resume. They have both the experience of working remotely, so they've put that in one of their bullet points, 6 years experience working remotely, and in flexible office environments, which is a very nice all-encompassing phrase. If you've had a very casual policy in a job where they've let you work from home some of the time, or you have a bit of a flexible schedule, that's a good phrase. It's kind of all-encompassing and just lets people know you've worked flexibly before. But they also include skills like customer service team effectiveness and productivity through communication. So productivity is one of the things, obviously, that with remote work, you usually find more of. And so you want to be able to point that out on your resume. But also communication skills are really critical for remote teams and remote workers to thrive. And so, including that on your resume is also a very nice thing. So just some examples there to kind of get your ideas flowing for what you might be able to do to update your resume. Excuse me. And now that we have gotten through that part, the thing we've all been waiting for, hearing from our employer panel. So as I said, each of these folks is going to take a few minutes to talk about their companies, why they value remote work and work flexibility, and what they look for when they're hiring remote workers, and how you can also find out about their current remote job openings. So first up, we're going to hear from Amanda Morgan, the Senior Sales Recruiter at Dell. Amanda, thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm really excited to be here and to see Dell on this top 100 list. So as you can see, my name is Amanda. I've been with Dell for 7 years as a sales recruiter. I too work remotely from my home office in Denver, Colorado, and I've been working virtually as a recruiter for about 10 years now. The freedom and the flexibility that I have to go to yoga or a spin class on my lunch hour, to cook my meals at home, and to make sure that my dog goes on enough walks during the day are all great benefits for me personally. And in fact, I wouldn't have this great job if remote work weren't an option, because our headquarters is in Round Rock, Texas. And when I was hired here, I was not in a place or in a position to be able to relocate. So in keeping in line with our legacy of good, which is Dell's commitment to put sustainability and social responsibility together with our business objectives, Dell really is truly committed to our Connected Workplace program. The program empowers our team members to do their best work in the service of our customers in the way that works best for them. While many of our competitors are moving in the opposite direction, with more of their remote employees being asked to return to the office, during our last fiscal year, 58% of Dell team members worked in some sort of flexible capacity. So as you can see on this slide, that means that we have surpassed our goal of having 50% of our eligible team members work in a flexible work environment by the year 2020. This work flexibility, it allows team members options for how, when, and where to do their work. These options create a collaborative work environment between the needs of the company and the team member both. A flexible workforce, we believe, is just as productive, if not more so, than the traditional office model. Also, we're reducing the carbon footprint and helping individuals balance their work life and their personal life. So bottom line, it really is an employee benefit that also helps Dell to be successful. One of the biggest benefits of our connected workplace is the environmental impact. Our flexible work options have saved both energy that would have been used in a traditional office building, as well as CO2 emissions from employees commuting. And also, it allows us access to a larger talent pool by removing geographic restrictions for many roles. Our remote work program, it's the #1 topic mentioned on our external social media platforms, so we know that candidates are attracted to us because of that benefit. And internally, flexible work is one of our top 3 culture attributes that Dell team members value the most. In our last annual employee survey that we call Tell Dell, 93% of our team members believed that flexibility helps them to be successful at Dell and also helps Dell achieve its goals. They're also more likely to take pride in their work and look forward to coming to work. And lastly, the financial impact for our company is significant. Since 2013, Dell's flexible work solutions have saved the company almost $40 million. Despite not sitting across from each other in cubicles or gathering at the conference room, Dell still has many tools for us to use to collaborate and feel connected. I know it was mentioned on a slide before, we also use Skype for virtual meetings, so we can see each other on video, we can share content during calls, and we can chat via instant message. We also use Salesforce.com's tool called Chatter. Chatter is an internal social networking platform where team members can share tools, tips, relevant articles, success stories, and more. And not to mention the good old telephone. I speak with my peers on a daily basis to catch up, to share best practices, and to really work on building those personal connections. And from a financial benefit, Dell also provides a one-time home office setup payment or stipend upon starting, and also a monthly recurring payment for internet connectivity where eligible. Some of the most commonly filled remote positions at Dell are outside sales roles, so that's what I focus on. These opportunities are available in many countries, though my team specifically hires in the US and Canada. So the roles that we focus on are account executives. I saw that title on a previous slide as well, which was great to see. Product-specific sales specialists and pre-sales engineering. All of these employees work from home when they're not out in front of customers. When we hire for these remote sales roles, we typically look for 2 or more years of sales experience, a passion for and an understanding for IT solutions, and the ability and the work ethic to work independently and run the job really as you would if it were your own business. Dell is continuing to invest in sales hiring, so make sure that you check out our openings. You can see the list here, or I'm sorry, the link for FlexJobs, or also go directly to dell.com/careers. Now, if you aren't in sales, you can also view many other Dell openings with these flexible work options, including marketing, training, engineering, and project management. I myself looked at the FlexJobs listings for Dell today and saw a lot of different types of opportunities as well. So in closing, I'd like to share one quick interview tip specific to these remote positions, especially if you haven't worked remotely before. Really come prepared to share specific examples of your autonomy and your self-discipline. What we really look for in these remote employees are individuals who are proactive in their approach to their life and their work. So thanks for your time today. Best of luck in your search, and I will turn it back over to you.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much. That's great information. Loved the interview tip also, and we've got some good questions coming in for Dell. So for everybody who's entered a question so far, I see those, and we will get to them in just a few minutes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you very much. Up next, we have Kevin Klein, the head of teacher commuting in the the head of teacher community. No teachers will be commuting for VIPKID. And thank you very much, Kevin, for being here.
Of course. I'm thrilled to be here today. So everyone, just imagine for a second being able to flip open your computer screen and for a moment transport yourself all the way to China. That's what 35,000 of our teachers do every morning at VIPKID. We're a platform that offers English immersion lessons for children ages now 4 to 12. We just launched preschool. Currently, our students are in China, but soon they will be coming from all over the world. Our headquarters are in Beijing. We also have offices in Shanghai and San Francisco. So what makes this opportunity special is a few things. One, we have a strong technology platform that allows you to have a seamless connection through our portal to students in China. Parents in China have an app where they can book their favorite teacher. You get a notification that you're booked, and then you're able to have a video conference with them on our platform. We create our own curriculum. So parents in China purchase a series of lessons for their students of all different levels. They get workbooks, interactive games, and of course, a 30-minute lesson with a US or Canadian teacher. And that's where you come in. The last thing that makes us really special is we have an incredibly strong teacher community, both online and off. Remote jobs can often feel isolating, where you're not seeing your colleagues on a daily basis. So we have almost 50 meetups a month in both large cities and rural cities around the country. And teachers get together monthly, working on their teaching craft, exchanging stories. And then if you can't make those, there's also online workshops to help you improve your craft. So not only are you getting to have this flexible teaching job, but you get to impact lives that are thousands of miles away. It's a pretty exciting company to work for. As their head of community here, I interact and work with all these teachers from around the country. And they're some of the best and brightest I've seen. So you're joining a really great group. Here are the details. The classes are 25 minutes long, and you're doing immersion learning. So you don't need to know Chinese at all. You just need to be able to engage a 5-year-old on a screen across the country. You don't really have to worry about the teaching management part, but just about teaching that lesson. The second thing that's kind of important to note is that these Chinese students are eager. So in their Chinese classrooms, they are learning English, but they're learning it in a certain way. They're learning more of like rote memorization English. And when they get to interact with a US teacher, it's more project-based. It follows our standards here. And so for them, it's a new way of teaching. What we found in China right now is that being able to offer your student extracurricular activities is the new big thing, right? It's no longer can you afford the Gucci or the Prada, but it's can you pay for these extra classes? And so there's millions of Chinese students that are there ready to learn English. For every class you teach, you get a base pay, and that's determined in your interview process. Our teachers end up making anywhere between $18 to $22 an hour. So you'll get a base pay per class, and you can determine your hourly rate by adding those 2 class base pays together. We also have tons of incentives each month for opening class slots last minute or doing priority bookings. When a new student is checking out our platform, if they decide to buy packages because of the way you taught, you get extra bonuses. So there's a lot of incentives that help you kind of take advantage of this hourly pay. Let's talk about the time. So the hours are super flexible. This works for a lot of different people's schedules. For the most part, what you're doing is anytime during the daytime in China, you can teach these students. But generally, they're taking these classes after school. So anytime after school, maybe 2, 3 p.m., all the way till 10 p.m. In the US, the time zone is different, right? So you end up during the weekdays teaching early mornings. In New York, the last time you'll teach a class is 10 a.m. So for a lot of people, they do this job in addition to some other ones where they can do during the day. On the weekends, though, everything's up for grabs. Students are in extracurriculars all day long, and you can book them. They'll book time with you then. So Friday nights, Saturday mornings are really great. And if you've taught before, you're used to kind of this consistent salary. And one of the nice things about this job is if your plans change on a Friday night, you can actually just open up some slots and book a class with students without a lot of pre-planning. Let's talk a little bit about the application process. So there are 2 main prerequisites that you will need that are non-negotiable. The first one is a BA. You'll be asked for a transcript or a diploma to prove that BA in the process. The second one is a year of teaching experience. And for all of you guys listening today, here are some tips. A year of teaching experience is broad, right? It doesn't have to be your normal K through 12 teaching. It could be substitute teaching. It could be tutoring. It could be teaching adults. It can be teaching PE or dance classes, working in preschools, being a para. There's a lot of things in that world. The key is you need a year of it. And so if you're doing side teaching for a couple hours a week, you'll probably have had to do that for a couple years for it to add up to 1 year of teaching. We consider a year of teaching 40 hours a week for an entire year. So really think back in your experience to find where you have all those examples of teaching to make sure you can get through the process. The last thing I'll note, because it always comes up, no Chinese language skills are necessary. I speak zero Chinese, yet I'm still able to engage with the students. What I find is people generally come to this job for the flexibility and for the pay. But in the end, they really stay for the students. I think the students are adorable. They bring joy to your life. They draw you pictures. And you're just actually really excited to wake up and teach these students. So we have people who are traveling the world right now doing this. We also have retired teachers who just want to keep up that interaction with students. The good thing is there's millions of students in China, so there's room for everyone. I'd love to answer your questions later today. I'm sure you guys will have some. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kevin. And yes, they will. They're definitely coming in too. So yes, thank you very much. And then last but not least, we're going to be hearing from Tina Shaheen at Hilton. Let me just click over to Tina's slide. Welcome, Tina. Thank you for being here. Tina's the manager for recruitment at Hilton Reservations and Customer Care and High Volume Corporate Recruitment. Tina, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm Tina Shaheen, like she said, recruiting manager with Hilton. Just a few details about me. I am located out of Dallas, Texas, and manage recruiting for our Hilton reservation and customer care teams. I have been recruiting work from home positions for Hilton for the past 6 years and have been working remotely for the last 3 years and just love the remote flexibility. So most of us are familiar with the Hilton name. For those of you who may not be familiar with Hilton, Hilton is a leading global hospitality company. We were founded in 1919 and our headquarters are in McLean, Virginia. Hilton is the fastest growing hospitality company in the world. We have the best performing portfolio brands in the business. We have 14 brands positioned across more than 5,100 hotels and we're in 105 countries. Pardon me. Our mission is to be the world's most hospitable company by positively impacting our guests, team members, and communities. We have an award-winning customer loyalty program. It's our Hilton Honors program. We've grown our Hilton Honors loyalty program to more than 69 million members by building meaningful, direct relationships that deliver great value for our guests. At Hilton, innovation is in our DNA. We're a historic 100-year-old brand with a startup mentality. We lead the way in developing game-changing technologies that enhance travel experiences for our guests. We have smartphone capabilities like digital key and ordering room service to smart rooms that allow for integrated entertainment, temperature, and lighting controls. This innovation comes from embracing input from all team members and guests and our commitment to keeping guests at the heart of everything we do. We are proud to say for the second year in a row, Hilton was named one of the world's best workplaces by Great Places to Work. We ranked number 9. We're ranked number 9, which is up 8 places from 2016. Big accomplishment for us last year. Hilton's work from home career program is part of the company's commitment to being a great place to work for all employees. Providing career flexibility is one of the many ways that we help our team members to thrive and empower them to take good care of our guests. These positions are ideal for people more prone to geographical moves, such as military spouses, retirees, and college students, as well as others in need of flexible work schedules and the ability to earn an income remotely. So what are we currently hiring for? So we currently hire for part-time and full-time seasonal remote reservation sales specialists. Our reservation sales specialists, they work from the comfort of their own home, offer world-class customer service to Hilton's customers as the first point of contact for our hotel brand. What are we looking for? We are looking for guest-focused team members with a passion for travel. We are currently hiring candidates in 29 states across the country. Hilton does provide a fully structured virtual training program to support new team members from onboarding through the entire training process. It's going to be very much a very engaged process. Also, one of the things you want to be aware of is remote reservation sales specialists have access to professional development programs, including Thrive at Hilton and Hilton University. Thrive at Hilton enables our team members to grow and flourish in body, mind, and spirit, which is very important to us. So for more information on our remote career opportunities, please visit our career site. I want to thank you all for the time and for listening, and I'll pass it back to you, Bree.
All right, Tina, thank you so much. Great overview of what Hilton has to offer and what you're hiring for. And excuse me, lots of questions coming in for you as well. I know there have been some sporadic comments that audio is dropping, but it seems like most of us still have it, the vast majority anyway. So we're going to keep on going. If you do have audio, I would recommend, or don't have audio, although you can't really hear me now, but just in case yours drops out, if you log out and log back into the presentation, that might be able to fix it. Yes, and now I'm getting comments that, yep, I can hear you. So good. I'm glad most of us are hearing. Usually it has to do with an individual's internet service or something like that. So just in case you experience that problem, if you drop off the call and hop back in, or the webinar, I should say, you'll be able to hear us once again. All right, so let's go to the very last slide here. It's got just an overview of the websites that each company has to go to see their current job openings and all of that fun stuff, and to apply to their jobs, so everybody can have this information. And so you'll see there's the FlexJobs website for each company, and also their careers page. So depending on if you're a FlexJobs member or not, or even if you just want to kind of go and see what's on both of those pages and learn some more, I definitely recommend going to each page. If you're a FlexJobs member or not, you'll still be able to see all of that information on the FlexJobs page as well. And you can kind of go and just learn as much as you can about each company from each different page. But yes, we have lots of questions coming in. So the first one is a common question that we get, and a lot of people have asked it, so I want to cover it first. If each of you, and I'll go through each company one at a time here, can you talk about sort of the geographic boundaries or location requirements that you have for your remote work? I know some companies are remote jobs that are open to people living anywhere, and some have specific requirements, whether it's certain states or anywhere within the United States. So in general, I know it might be specific to different jobs, but in general, what are some of your geographic requirements for your remote jobs? Amanda at Dell, let's have you go first.
Audio check here. Thank you. So it really just depends on the opportunity itself. If you're looking for, a marketing position or a sales training position, for example, where the face-to-face time with an end customer isn't of importance, then we're hiring, those positions are available across the US and Canada as well. So there's no geographic restrictions for those types of positions. For the outside sales roles, where there's a lot of time spent face-to-face with customers, those will be geographically based. So for example, I have an opening right now here in Colorado, and so you could work remotely from your home in northern Colorado, the Western Slope, Denver, etc. But you have to be close to the customer. So I think when you're reading individual job descriptions, you'll be able to delineate between the two. But if there's not face time required or time required being at an office, then it's really wide open.
All right, great. Very good to know. Thank you. And Kevin at VIPKID, how about you folks, and any geographic requirements or restrictions or anything like that?
Yeah, great question. Two things. So the first one is you need to be able to work in the US or Canada. So you need to have that, you need to be able to legally work in either of these two countries. If you can, then you can work anywhere. We have people, again, like traveling through Asia, on military bases around the world. The key here is that you need strong internet. So there are a few countries where the internet is not as strong that could hurt you. You could try, but the key is going to be strong internet. So you need to be able to work in the US or Canada and strong internet. And besides that, you can go travel the world and do this job.
Wonderful. That's good to know. And that is one of those good examples of, sometimes the job, you do have to have a certain location in terms of where you're legally able to work. But then once you've confirmed that, you can kind of travel with that job. So that's another good example. Thank you, Kevin. And then Tina at Hilton, last but certainly not least, how about you folks and geographic requirements or restrictions for your remote jobs?
Right. So we currently only hire out of 29 states across the country. So I would recommend for those locations to visit our career site for those locations, unless you all want me to quote 29, 29 different states currently. But we do the majority, but right now we are tied to 29 states.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much. And yeah, that is for anybody who's kind of newer to remote work or just, getting your way through a remote job search, that's a very common thing, is that companies will be state specific too, especially US based companies. They may hire in certain states throughout the US, but not all states. And really just to kind of reiterate some of the reasoning behind all of these things, whether for a lot of the time, especially when it's within states in the US, it has to do with where you're set up to handle employment taxes and things like that. And so that's one of the reasons. So I know another question that we had that came in was, if you see a job opening that's in one state and you live in the state next to it, but it doesn't say it's available for that state, should you apply? And I don't know if anybody else would like to chime in on this, but my short answer would be probably not, because there are very certain reasons why a company will only be hiring in certain states. And so just to save your time and to help you kind of move along to another application that you would definitely be suited for based on your location, I would say probably avoid applying for that job, because there are certain legal restrictions where a company truly wouldn't be able to hire you or consider you for that job because you're not in that one state that they're looking for. So just another little caveat to that fun thing. But yeah, geography and remote jobs is one of those things where every company is just a little bit different. So thank you all very much for going over each of your specific requirements. Another thing that comes up when we talk about remote jobs and requirements is home office setup. So a lot of people have been asking for each of these companies and maybe the different types of remote jobs that you have, what do you require or suggest people have in terms of their home office? Do you require certain equipment? Do you provide equipment? Do you recommend specifics? Are there certain Wi-Fi or internet speeds that you're looking for? All of those fun details. So if there's any technical requirements or home office setup requirements for your remote jobs, if you could just talk about those. And it can be general. I know sometimes it is specific to the different types of jobs that are out there, but if you have anything to say on that, that would be great. So let's go back to Amanda at Dell.
Great. So absolutely, it's pretty simple as far as the technology requirements. I would echo what Kyle said with the internet connection. You just need, or I'm sorry, what Tina said, need to have a strong connection to be able to do the work. But then beyond that, Dell provides you with all the tools that you need to do for the job. So for example, looking at my desk here, I have a Dell issued laptop, docking station, a monitor, all of the peripherals that I need. And then right now I'm currently speaking on a headset that goes through Skype. So everything is really through my computer. My phone number is voice over IP. So I don't have to have a landline. I could if I want to, but I've got really all the tools that I need. And then for certain positions like the one that I'm in and also our sales roles, we would provide you with a Dell issued smartphone as well with all of the tools on it. So for example, our new applicant tracking system and recruiting tool that we have, it is mobile enabled. And so if I'm out running through the day or I need to take a trip and I'm at the airport, I can work from my cell phone as well. So really the only thing you have to have in your physical office for this is that strong internet connection. And then we send you everything else you need to get plugged in.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Amanda. And continuing in our order, Kevin at VIPKID, how about you folks and any technical requirements or home office?
Of course, there on our homepage, front and center, you'll be able to click on tech requirements to read in detail. But at the very minimum, you need a device like a desktop, laptop, Mac, or Surface computer. You'll need a camera, so either an external one that's HD, but most of the newer laptops have them built in, and then a headset with a microphone. So like right now, I'm just using my Apple headsets, but we recommend that as you start teaching with us, you'll probably want an overhead headset with the mic, but for your interview, these will work. And then just minimum system requirements, making sure you have enough memory, making sure your browsers are up to date, that you have the latest version of Flash. So all that's listed there, but nothing too surprising that you wouldn't expect from kind of a remote teaching job there.
All right, great. Thank you, Kevin. And last but not least, Tina at Hilton. How about you folks and any home office or technology requirements?
So our technology requirements is that we do require high-speed wired internet connection. Wi-Fi, unfortunately, is not permitted. We do provide the majority of the equipment, such as the terminal, hard drive, keyboard, mouse, headset, and the VoIP line. So we will provide the phone line for use as well. That is pretty much our requirements.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you all for answering that one. I know lots of people had asked about that, so I'm glad we got that one covered. Another one that we are seeing a lot of actually has to do with either career changers or people coming back into the workforce after a break for a variety of reasons. We have lots of people on the call today who are just giving an overview of they've been out for the last few years or handful of years or even 6 months or a year. It's a kind of a wide range. But maybe some of your advice or ideas on how those folks can make themselves stand out or what they might be able to highlight on their resume to help them stand out for the jobs. Basically, how does each of your companies view career changers or people returning after a break? And any advice that you might have for those people to put themselves out there as they apply for jobs. Amanda at Dell, let's go back to you.
You bet. I think the first thing that I would encourage people to do is on your resume and or in the conversation is to acknowledge the gap. I think sometimes if you're looking chronologically at a resume and you see a gap but there's nothing in there, even if it's just saying, family sabbatical or just put something in there as a placeholder so that you're acknowledged of it. And then really being able to speak to, your learning and things that you've done to help bridge the gap between. So maybe you took a couple of years off to be with your family, but during that time, previously you were in IT sales, and during that time you read various articles, you watched certain programs, or you've read certain books to keep your skills, front and center or refreshed, or even just, I've been doing research on your company and I saw this article that came out last month where you're addressing these issues. So just really an understanding or being able to verbalize what you've been doing to keep up in the meantime. And then also definitely don't discount your experiences during the break. So maybe you've been, volunteering or taking other classes or just doing other things in life that could lend well to these jobs themselves. And then also lastly, I would just say, just cast a wide net. So sometimes maybe you had a certain position before and it's getting tougher to get back in after a couple of years break. Sometimes that happens and you might need to open yourself up a little bit more to different types of roles to get your foot back in the door, to prove yourself and then move back up to where you were before. So I think maybe those three things are all things I would bear in mind if trying to re-enter the workforce or switch careers. I don't know if you guys can still hear me. I think I've lost audio.
Sorry about that. I took myself on.
Okay. No problem.
Usually that happens about once a webinar. I'll hit the mute button when I mean to hit unmute. Well, thank you very much, Amanda. That was really helpful. And then over to Kevin at VIPKID. How about you, just for any advice generally about how people can make themselves stand out or what they should be doing if they're returning from the workforce or changing careers and looking to maybe get hired with VIPKID?
Absolutely. The way VIPKID works is we want patient teachers who are eager to get started. It doesn't matter if you've had a gap, you actually don't even have to explain it. We're looking at, do you have past experience in teaching? We have a lot of people who have been stay-at-home moms for a couple of years, and then they, their kids are in a good spot where they can get back into it and bring in some income, and so they start this job. A couple things that you can do just to increase your chances of getting hired there is to practice. So I'd say the hardest thing about VIPKID is the interview. We're like Harvard in the sense of it's very hard to get hired with us. I think it's I don't know what the acceptance rate at Harvard is, but if you need to be taking that very seriously. So there's 3 rounds. First, you send in you type in your resume, you see if you have enough experience. Then you do a short 15-minute interview with someone in China. They just want to understand your teaching experience, and they're going to watch you teach a few minutes of a lesson so they can get a sense for your fit with the company. Do you have the right sort of demeanor on camera? Do you know how to use the camera? And then the third part, and this is the toughest part, is an actual practicum. You're going to have another VIPKID teacher who plays a student on the other end. And you're going to teach that student, in quotes, a full 30-minute lesson. And this is where I think a lot of people, if they don't plan ahead and they don't practice at home, get stuck. So I would go on and watch some of the YouTube videos that teachers provide, and everyone at VIPKID gets a referral bonus if they help someone get hired, because we know it's hard. And so if you go watch a YouTube video and you like that person, usually they will coach you. And they'll get a bonus from us if they help you out. So if you tell them, hey, like, I'm motivated to get this job, I'm going to put in the time, I'm going to put in the time to practice, I really want it, then they can come in and help you. They can schedule a Skype session with you, allow you to practice in front of a mirror, using your camera. There's a lot of new terms, like there's a term called TPR, total physical response, and how you use your body and your hands to explain new vocabulary. And they can go over those things with you so that practicum isn't so hard. So really, really take the time in the interview to get it right. But then after that, happy teaching. And so the gap won't matter as long as you're motivated to get that first part done.
All right. Well, Kevin, thank you very much. That's really helpful. And I think that's a good bit of advice for anybody going for any job, is to really spend time preparing for the job interview. And practicing out loud, I think, is one of the best things that you can do, even if it's not for a teaching position, although I can definitely see the value in that. But just really practicing saying your answers out loud can make a huge difference in terms of your delivery on the big interview day, and the nerves and overcoming your confidence lacking and all that sort of stuff. I think it can really help. So good advice for everybody. And then last but not least, Tina at Hilton, how about you, and any advice that you might have for career changers or people returning to the workforce as they apply for jobs at Hilton?
All right. So one of the things about the remote reservation sales specialist position is it is a fairly entry-level position into Hilton for a remote position. So we see this a lot where individuals have taken a break to spend time with their family, have had a very successful career prior to that break, and then come back in to the workforce. So really what my recommendation is again, really to reiterate a lot of what's already been said, but really taking the time to bridge the gap of time, whatever volunteer work you've done, whatever items that you've done to, run things at the school. These are items that are very important that are still keeping your skills sharp and would relate to what we're doing as far as servicing our guests. So what I would recommend is to take the time when filling out the application to really take the time to fill out what you've been doing during that gap to keep your skills sharp, as well as we do video interviewing as well. So practice is a great thing. Practice your interviewing skills, understanding what's important to Hilton. We're looking for those that are focused on our guests and have that passion for travel. And we're looking to make sure that you're going to fit in our culture as well. So my recommendation is not much different than what has already been said, but practice, fill in the gaps with what work you've done, volunteer work, things that you've done to keep your skills sharp during the time that you've taken off, and continue to pursue us.
All right, wonderful. Great advice, Tina. Thank you. And thank you, everybody. I know that's one of those questions that we do get asked a lot at FlexJobs, and it's always good to get advice from different hiring managers and recruiters just to see the different ways people can make themselves stand out. So hopefully that was helpful to everybody. I think it probably was. And then one question that we have from a number of people also, and it seems like everybody's sort of on the same page today as far as questions go, has to do with the employee versus freelancer designation. So for each of your companies with your remote jobs in particular, are you hiring for employees or hiring for freelancers? And then as a part of that, or a second piece of that question, is what sorts of benefits do you offer, if any, for your remote positions? So let's go back up to the top. And Dell, Amanda, how about you folks and benefits and employee versus freelancer?
Absolutely. So I don't believe that freelancer is necessarily something that we utilize a lot here. We do have contract positions versus full-time positions, so that might be one and the same. But when it comes to full-time remote positions, such as myself, the benefits are exactly the same. So you receive all of the, retirement, medical benefits, discounts. There's no difference really there. We do sometimes have contract workers depending on the needs of the business. So for example, we're hiring a great deal in sales right now, so we have a number of contract recruiters, and they work through a third party, essentially like an agency. So they're an employee of a staffing agency who then handles taxes for them and is able to provide benefits as well. So through those contract, intern, rotational programs, et cetera, there are certain benefits required, but for the vast majority of these remote full-time positions, you would receive all of the same benefits as you would in a brick and mortar office.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Amanda. Mm-hmm. And Kevin over at VIPKID, how about you folks and employee versus freelancer? Oh, and I will say, yes, freelancer and contract would be the same kind of interchangeable terms here. So employee versus contractor or employee versus freelancer designations, and also any benefits that you might provide.
All of our teachers are independent contractors. So that allows them to choose the schedule they'd like. And the thing about independent contractors is, they're delivering a service. So all of our teachers are delivering the service of teaching, and it works really well for them. So that's how we make it work. That's why there's 35,000 independent contractors right now on our team.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is a lot of people. All right. Well, thank you, Kevin. That's very good to know and very nice and easy. And then last but not least, Tina at Hilton, how about you folks and hiring employees versus contractors for remote jobs, and then also any benefits that you might provide?
Great. So for our the majority of our remote reservation sales specialists, they're going to be non-contractors. We will at times hire seasonal temporary staffing. Seasonal temporary staffing wouldn't necessarily receive benefits. However, our full-time team members receive the full comprehensive package. Part-time team members will receive a, modified version, but they still receive 401k with company match. We provide team member travel program, employee purchase program. They'll earn paid time off. So we do give them definitely some good perks as a part-timer, but maybe not the medical, dental, and life insurance that you might as a full-time team member with us.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you all very much. I know we're just getting up to the top of the hour, so before we end today's presentation, I wanted to give a very big thank you to Amanda Morgan with Dell, Kevin Klein with VIPKID, and Tina Shaheen at Hilton. Thank you, ladies, so much for being here today, for offering such good information about your companies and your remote work and how you hire and what you look for, and some really good advice for our job seekers. We really appreciate your time today. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Bree.
Thank you.
All right, and just one last thing as we wrap up today's presentation, I wanted to go over a couple things. There will be a quick survey after the webinar. If you have about 30 seconds to hang on and fill that out, we would be very grateful. It just helps us plan these sorts of webinars in the future and make sure that we keep doing what we're doing well and that we improve on what we can improve on. And then tomorrow you'll also receive an email that has that same survey. So if you can't hang out right now, you'll get a second chance to fill it out. We hope you do. And also a recording, a link to view the recording of the webinar. So you can go back to any or all of it, whatever you would like to do. And you can also look for upcoming webinars hosted by FlexJobs by going to the FlexJobs blog, and that'll be under FlexJobs resources and then job search webinars and videos. You can also see our entire library and history of previous webinars and all of the recorded videos from those webinars. So last year, I think we held 4 or 5 of these similar employer panels with some of the folks who are on the call today and with a lot of other employers. So you can go back to those and hear some really good information from each of those employers and how they hire for remote jobs and flexible jobs and all that good stuff. So I would definitely recommend checking out that catalog. It's free and open to the public, so feel free to go click around and make use of it. But thank you all very much for being here today, especially to our attendees, all of our job seeking and professional attendees. We wish you the very best of luck in your job search and have a great rest of the day. Thanks, everyone.